This video will demonstrate how to add a lesson activity to your Moodle course, as well as how to configure the lesson activity settings. First, you want to make sure you have turned editing on. Then, in the section where you want the resource to appear, click Add an Activity or Resource. In the Activities section, you want to click Lesson and then Add. Now it's time to configure the general settings. Do not be put off by the long list of settings. They can be left as default, and you can change them at any time. First, you want to choose a name relevant to the topic of the lesson. In the Appearance settings, you will want to decide if you wish to display the progress bar. If set, the progress bar will display along the bottom of the page so the students know how far they've proceeded through the lesson. By selecting Display an Ongoing Score, it will show the students' ongoing score on each page. You will want to select Yes for the Display Left menu if you want to choose the Minimum Grade to Display menu. This determines whether a student must obtain a certain grade before viewing the left menu. This forces the student to go through the entire lesson on their first attempt. Then, after obtaining the required grade, they can use the left menu for review. So those two kind of work together. The maximum number of answers specifies the maximum number of answers that may be used in a lesson. If only true-false questions are used, you can just set it to 2. The setting may be changed at any time since it only affects what the teacher sees and not the data. I usually start off and select it to 10. Just in case I have a place where I need to have some more options than just 4. The Use Feedback will display responses like, that's the correct answer and that's the wrong answer for questions without specific feedback configured. The link to Next Activity will link to another activity on the last page of the lesson. You will select the activity from the drop-down menu. You will want to configure the availability settings just like you do for any other activity or resource you have done in the past in your courses. The prerequisite lesson settings configure whether this lesson is dependent on student performance in another lesson, time spent in another lesson, or when a certain thing is completed. You can also establish students' accessibility to this lesson dependent on a score higher than a certain percentage obtained in a previous lesson. Flow control options configure how the student proceeds through the lesson. You can allow the students to review, provide the option to try again, choose the maximum number of attempts, and then action after correct answer determines how the system responds after a correct answer. Most of the time you'll want to show the page you have selected as a response. You can also choose to have a random question that the student hasn't seen yet. The number of pages to show specifies the number of pages shown in a lesson. It is only applicable for lessons with pages shown in random order. The grade settings are similar to what you have done for previous activities. You have your type of grade, points, the category, whether they can practice the lesson or not. If you want the quiz questions that you insert into your lesson to count towards a grade, you will want to make sure that the custom scoring is set to yes. You can also determine if retakes are allowed and how to handle them. The minimum number of questions setting specifies the minimum number of questions that will be used to calculate the grade for the activity. Now, if the lesson contains one or more content pages, the minimum number should be set to 0. So as you can see, the default settings are usually the ones that you want to choose. Then you want to configure the rest of your settings, Common Module, Restrict Access, and Activity Selection, and click Save and Display. Now you are ready to add content pages and question pages to your lesson activity. This will be discussed in the next instructional video.